Hey, ladies, how's it going? I hope that you are doing well. In case anyone was following along on my post in the last few days, you might notice that I had intended on having a special guest with me today, and I know that we'll just have to reschedule, and that's totally fine. Really, still really excited to introduce you guys to a man that changed my life and continues to change lives. He's just one of those people that is a healer and a giver. And his whole family is. And for years and years, they've spent their time and their energy helping people change their mind about stuff. And I thought we were going to get a chance to chat with him today, but it looks like I actually get to chat with you about how to deal with disappointment and frustration. And I'll tell you, there was a time in my life when I was not able to successfully manage my emotions when something was frustrating or overwhelming. Most of the time, I felt as if my bubble of sanity, right, was so full. And it kind of was, it's like a balloon, right? Like, this little bit and it fills it up a little, then you're a little bit frustrated about that. And then maybe you don't eat like, the best breakfast, and then somebody yells at you, and then you don't get parking at the spot. And then, right. And there's like these layers and levels of frustration and disappointment in life. And for a long time, I was not really able to deal with any kind of stress or additional frustration when things went funky, right? Which they do. Things go funky, and car accidents happen, and illness happens, and losing jobs happens, and flat tire happens, all kinds. I mean, you just go on the list of life experiences and events that happen. And I was always just held so wound up so tightly, and I didn't really understand how the way that I think about things, and then also the way that I feed myself. So, nutrition, right? Dr. Lustig says you can't fight your physiology, right? If you're putting stuff in that's creating a disconnect, that's creating confusion inside the body, how can you then expect to perform and function optimally when the inside signals are getting crossed? It's like there's a constant battle going on inside. Like I imagine like little airplanes, right? And like there's like the FAA sitting there. Okay, like you're over here, you're over there, you're over there. Okay, fly this way a little bit. Cross. When we're eating crazy foods, it's like the air traffic controllers just went on vacation, and all of a sudden nobody knows where anybody is, and planes are going in the wrong direction, and they start to crash, and it starts to begin to have kind of chaos on the inside. And I didn't realize that. I didn't realize what a profound effect, even eating well 80 to 90% of the time, right? What I considered well and healthy by most standards. For this body, that wasn't enough. And it's probably because I did so much crazy dieting and all over the place and stress and frustration and all of that. Like I didn't know how to deal with it. I did not have the tools that I needed to move through life with any kind of grace whatsoever. There was like real high highs and real low lows, and there was a lot of disappointment and frustration that happens in life that I just could not deal with. So I guess that's what we're talking about today, because that kind of came up for me, right? I was like, hey, we had an appointment, we got scheduled. Now, obviously, I have no idea what happened. He could be some kind of a family emergency. He could be in the middle of some juicy conversation with a client and just not know what the time is, right? I mean, who knows? There's a million things that could happen. And there's lots of different ideas that I could come up with in my mind. But the reality is, I thought I was going to have a special guest right now, and I don't. And I feel sad about that. Right. And I think that one of the things that I have really been learning and practicing and incorporating is honoring my feelings. Right. Because there's like the logical side, there's the uncomfortable side of like, well, I don't want to tell anybody that I am sad. I don't want to tell them that I'm disappointed, that I thought something was going to happen and it didn't. And now I feel frustration. Like that's not typically the way in which we kind of communicate with each other, unless it's like a bitch session, you know what I mean? Unless it's like a gossipy, blah, blah, blah about somebody else. We feel like self-righteous and like justified in what this other person is like doing or not doing. And can you believe, right? That can be a way that human beings communicate with each other, kind of like us against them type stuff. But I'm really doing my best not to engage in that kind of conversation anymore either. It's a challenge. It's a real challenge to just not engage, not interested in having this bitch session about somebody else. So what that leaves me with then is my own emotions and thoughts and feelings, right? Like really cleaning up my side of the street, really owning my own stuff. And with that process, and it certainly is a process, not like one day you don't and the next day you do and then you always do, right? There's like this constant evolution, this constant opportunities to practice what we preach, right? And so here we are thinking about and dealing with frustration. And one of the things that I value about myself and that I want in my life is not only the willingness and ability to self-reflect, but also the willingness and ability to laugh, right? To find some lightness and some humor. Because of course, like I love you ladies. I want the best for you. I want you to have everything that you need to be happy and joyous and free. I want to show up authentically. I want to share. I want to care. I want to help guide you in any way that you would like and that you see fit. That's what I want. And it is super uncomfortable to have a plan and want it to be a certain way. And then the universe is like, I don't think it's going to happen like that. Right. So something else happened and the plan changed. And now I had to sit there for a few minutes going, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to show up? Like, I feel a little bit embarrassed as well that I said that something was going to happen and now it's not happening. And kind of like sitting here, I just took a breath. I went and like sat down on the bed for a moment with like one eye open to see if he popped into the Zoom. And I'm sitting there and I'm just taking a few deep breaths, which is one of the things that I practice often in my own life and with my clients. Every time we have a coaching call, we pause for a moment or two and just kind of breathe and get centered and get present in this moment. It's those little transition times that I have realized is so vitally important with in dealing with stress and frustration in life in general, is to have moments of pause. Going from like one thing to the next to the next to the next to the next is extremely draining on the psyche, on the body. I mean, it's no wonder we crave sugars and sweets and things like that and coffee. Like we got to keep going, we got to keep going, we got to keep going. It's like I don't have time for that hooji wooji, meditation stuff. And what's funny about that is like the great paradoxes of life. And that that's just life. You know what I mean? Less is more is less, right? Up is down. You got to give to receive. You got to be a good receiver to give properly. It's like this cycle. It just goes around and around. And um, what I've found is that taking a moment to pause actually gives me more energy, it gives me more clarity, it gives me more strength, it gives me more willpower, it gives me more motivation, because now I don't feel like my bubble is so big that it's about to burst and I'm just trying to hold it all together, which is pretty much the way that I felt all the time for a really long time. So in these little moments, I was like, okay, I guess we're talking about frustration and disappointment. Somebody needs to hear this. Let me pop actually over into the group and see, girl, I need to hear this today. I know, Natalia, I was kind of thinking of you as well. Oh, God bless. She got her car stuck in this little dip. I know. Thank you for allowing me to share that little story with them this morning. And like on the call, she was just like, oh my God, this is it's just one of those things, got to go ask the neighbor to help out. And it's like just, one more extra thing. So we take a moment to listen and to share and to have the feeling and to have the conversation and to have that moment of pause so we can kind of gather our strength, because that's really where the strength is. And it's been super challenging with this COVID lockdown, kids at home, working from home stuff, where I found it a bit challenging for myself as well. That, you go from being like a parent to being working, back to a parent, back to working, to clean the kitchen, do the house, parent, working. It's just this, like, there's no space. I remembered years ago when I had a commute, and I actually really loved that time that I was driving to work or that I was driving home from work. It was the only time that I had to myself, to listen to whatever I wanted to listen to call whoever I wanted to call and not get interrupted. Of course, using the the thing in the car to whatever, just do whatever I wanted to do. And when that was no longer, I had to figure out a way to have some me time, to have some space, to have some time where I just listened to what I wanted to listen to, do what I wanted to do, talk to who I wanted to talk to. And I have found that that time is actually first thing in the morning, right? Before other people are really awake. And it doesn't need to be hours and hours. I mean, some people really love that, right? Like if they get up at like 4, they have like 2 hours before anybody wakes up, they do all their stuff, they exercise and meditate and journal, which is wonderful and beautiful. And I have found that even having 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes right before the rest of the family and everybody wakes up is really, really magnificent. So just kind of taking that time, and in that time creating some space. And every time I practice pausing, looking at the facts, realizing that this might be happening for me instead of to me, right? Then my mind starts to go all wild. It's like, well, cool. Well, then what else is going to happen? Like maybe today, obviously today was not the day to have an interview, right? Like, what is that day? Maybe like we'll get to have a little extra time. Maybe we can have people come on. Like maybe whoever needs to hear it hasn't joined the group yet. That person whose like life is going to be changed by this. I don't know. I don't know. But even just taking an opportunity to pause and take a couple deep breaths and think about things differently. Again, how is it like how is it possible that maybe this is happening for me instead of to me? And then I begin to think differently, and then I begin to feel differently. And then I get an opportunity to kind of have a little giggle and a little laugh and decide, okay, I guess we're talking about frustration today. So if you are watching this, hello and welcome. Welcome to my group, Butt in the Jeans community. We are here every couple of days going live, doing all kinds of cool stuff. And I'll just let you know right now, I am going to be starting to promote our next 5-day reset. So that is super exciting news. I think the first one we did was back in June. And then we haven't done them every month, but we've done several, I think maybe 3 or 4 since then. And we're going to be doing a Valentine's Day week 5-day reset. So it's extremely inexpensive. You get 5 days packed full of incredible value, including workout sessions with me and my son, cooking demonstrations with me and my mom, who she's owned a restaurant for 40 years now. So she knows her way around the kitchen, and she knows how to really cook most things, especially fresh, alive, vibrant, real fun foods, which is really awesome. So how do we keep it simple, but also tasty, right? And then of course, some meditation sessions and coaching, accountability and support for you in the afternoon. So keep your ears open for that. I will be posting a lot about our 5-day reset coming up in just a couple of weeks now. So it's that week of Valentine's Day, and we are going to be having everything love, all about love because our relationship with food, it's like it's the world and we're putting it inside of our bodies. And then we feel differently, like dramatically differently. There is an incredible physical, mental, emotional, spiritual relationship that we have with food, regardless if you think so or you want it to be that or not, right? We're human beings, and what we eat isn't what we are. What we eat becomes us, right? All of these cells changing and transforming, 50 million cells a second, right? So everything that we put in then becomes our system, our body, our thoughts, our neurotransmitters, all of that cool stuff. Okay, so everything about love, putting love in, getting love out, healing the mind and the body, dealing with frustration, getting the support and the love and the accountability. I am so excited. Okay, ladies, I love you so much. If frustration and disappointment is one of those things that really derails your healthy habits, let me know. Drop a little note in the comments and give me an opportunity to reach out to you, personally and see if I have some either some guidance or some trainings or something that might help and support you because you are definitely not alone in this wild adventure of life. All right, ladies, lots of love to you. Thanks for showing up. Really looking forward to rescheduling our appointment with Dr. Porter because you're going to want to hear what this man has to say. He changed my life and he continues to change my client's life as well through me and thousands of other people across the whole world. All right. Love you very much. Talk to you soon.